Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Think of all that time. Every wait in the winter. All those hours no one else. Think of all that time. Think of every sacrifice in the summer. Every wait in the mornings on the levee. Late nights in the film room. Bus rides to playoff games. Every bump in the road. Every moment of ecstasy. Every moment of doubt. Years wondering. Is it all worth it? It's all led to this. Man, I got this. It's a 60-minute drive for a 60-minute game. After all the miles we've traveled, we're almost there. After all the hours we've worked, one more can make us legends. After all that time, this is our time.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Good knowing exactly where to go with the football.
All right, that's really weird. I don't know why I did that, but welcome in everyone to Inside the Hoosier Mind, brought to you in part by Military Broadcast Radio, helping give veterans a voice, helping teach them how to podcast, and most importantly, letting veterans' voices be heard. I am back with the shy kid, Mike Hughes, after a stressful day in the lovely streets of Chicago and traffic and whatnot. Sounds like Chicago's road construction is about as good as Indiana's. It takes them 6 years to do anything. Traffic sucks the entire time, and by the time they finish, they start all over again. So that's what it sounds like. We'll do a little bit of a quick show, but we still got a couple pretty decent topics as far as college football goes, because both of them are really interesting, a little bit controversial in some of the topics and whatnot. The biggest one being Nico Iamaleava. I really hope I didn't butcher that too badly.
Don't matter anymore.
I know. He had a massive issue with the University of Tennessee because he wanted to up his NIL deal, and actually just about 2 hours ago officially committed to UCLA to be their starting quarterback. Don't know why he would do that. I know he's a homegrown California kid, but at least go to the other school at USC because you got better talent, I guess. But nonetheless, there's a lot of talk about this because there's a lot of people praising Josh Heupel because he's taking a stand. He's saying, look, I'm not letting this kid dictate what he wants to do as far as making us pay him a ton of money. and because of the fact of if we do it for him, another kid is probably going to come along and ask the same thing. And then at what point do you say, actually, we're going to say yes to this one, but we're going to say no to this one? I know, Mike, you're starting to get into college football pretty regularly. I know you root for GBO, Go Big Orange. So what's your thoughts on this being a Tennessee fan and at least kind of seeing this from the outside in? Because honestly, it seems like more and more college football is just a mini NFL league, like at this point.
Sucks, brother. There's no other way to put it. Like, I mean, it's not the NFL. This is not Major League Baseball. This is not the NBA. You don't get to just like listen, I'm a 3-time college dropout and community college at that. So like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know the ways, but like you go to college to get an education. That's what it is. You're getting a full ride, a full education. People who have 4.0 GPAs aren't even getting into some of these schools because of just, I mean, Tony, you've experienced your own stuff with LSU and everything you've gone through in life. You know, I can't go anywhere because I had a 2 something GPA in high school. You know what I mean? So you can, I go, where can I go? You can go fuck yourself, brother. You can go straight to McDonald's. Like that was my situation. But like I used to root for the players, you know. I really used to root for the players because they make the colleges make so much money off of these games, off of the tickets, off of the branding, off the jerseys, et cetera, et cetera. I did feel like they deserve to get paid. Now, when it's to the point to where a few $1 million isn't good enough for you, that's when I have a problem. Is like listen, like remember Johnny Manziel? Sorry, I can't hear you. I have too much money in my fucking head. Like that's my favorite video. But it's my favorite video because it was just so illegal what he was doing. But I mean that's what the league is for. You know what I mean? Like your goal should be to develop into the best quarterback you can be and make some money on the way. You know what I mean? Now, from my perspective as a Tennessee fan, you're the one that made me get the, you know, I'm not going to say made, you didn't have a gun to my head, but you made me get the college football game and Nico just slinging it. I used that man for all 4 years. And it was just like so frustrating to me to see this news because I think Nico would have thrived at Tennessee. I think there were even potentially, you could say I'm right or wrong, but there could have been conversations 2 years from now about them potentially winning a national championship with him at the helm. But that's the beauty of Tennessee. You know, you got the Joe Miltons of the world, all these other great quarterbacks, Hooker, and just so many great guys that they've developed. They're not going to miss a beat. I think they're going to find another very quickly. Maybe this will be kind of like a bridge gap year, but I know we don't have a lot of time, but like stuff like that is just like a few million wasn't good enough, you know, because he was already making hella money at Tennessee. So I get going home, but go home go home because you want to go home, not because you didn't make enough money.
Yeah. And to your point too, that's one of the issues that a lot of these guys have with a lot of these colleges. And it was interesting. I even heard the conversation between Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington, who were both big college stars for Notre Dame and Penn State, respectively. Of, you know, LeVar has even said that he has kids now competing in, you know, collegiate athletics. And he's like, look, first and foremost, you need to get your education. You need to be a good human being, and you need to be able to get to know the community you're in and serve the community that you're in currently. He's like, don't worry about everything else. He's like, now I know it's not that simple because you have all these NIL and these brandings and building your business and building up who you are. He's like, but that needs to come first and foremost. Now I do agree that I think Tennessee will be able to find somebody else. And the other benefit to this is he's doing it at the same time that the spring transfer portal is now open. So there are other guys that have already said that they're, you know, going into the portal. There's going to be another round of moves and whatnot. Right before basically kind of like spring training camp for them. Now I know a lot of teams have already had their spring games and whatnot, but they'll still have an opportunity to work and kind of get chemistry built up and whatnot. Now I know I sent this to our guy Randy in our team chat that you probably saw, but this is kind of the other side of it from a former very successful college coach, not a great NFL coach, but great college coach in Urban Meyer. He pointed out by quote saying, Tennessee is screwed. They've got a problem. Everybody's saying, nice job, Tennessee, making a stand. I've got a little comment on that. Tennessee plays Florida usually every year in October. And can you imagine the game's going the other way? Coach Heupel grabs the microphone, stands on the 50-yard line in Neyland Stadium and says, "It's okay. I made a stand way back when." And with the way Florida played, at least last year, especially when they switched over to DJ Lagway, and that Florida team was hot. Now, albeit they didn't win a whole lot, they actually won more games than what they were projected to win, and they had the hardest schedule in all of college football last year based off the previous year's rankings and standings. He's not necessarily wrong. And I know when I asked Randy too, he kind of agreed. It sucks that, Nico left, because it's hard to find a good quarterback that's a good replacement and whatnot. And much to Urban's point too, it also sucks because you have to look at it for what it is. Wins count, losses count, and when you give up a guy like this, it's hard. But much to our point of what we were saying, it's hard when one, a lot of these kids, and I'm gonna, even though I really hate to throw his name out there, but realistically for his college story, that's what it was. You look at Deshaun Watson and his story of when he went to Clemson. He did not have a lot of money. He had a big family living in a small house that was not in the greatest of conditions. He goes to college, he goes to the NFL, he gets money, and he's able to buy his mom a house and able to help take care of her and whatnot. And so for a lot of these guys, I get it. You have a very limited time of career length of how long you may or may not even get to play football. I mean, ask, was it Ryan Shazier, the linebacker for the Steelers, that, he, it is one of those, as a freak hit. It could happen to anybody at any time.
Right.
And, next thing you know, his career's over. So I get as much money as you can.
Right.
But you're already making a good chunk of change anyway. You're already going to at least minimum get the sponsorships, the brand deals and whatnot on top of the NIL money that you're already getting. So at what point do you not say, look, let me take the money I've got now. Let me start investing, because don't go above your means. I will say, as much as I like to give Jalen Hurts crap, and a lot of people say he's a living like Pinterest quote, like, he even said it. He's like, I make $250 million a year. He goes, but I live in like a, immediate, like middle class home. He's like, I don't need a giant mansion. I don't need to go buy that. Like, I have everything that I need. And again, everybody's different. Everybody's got dreams, and I got nothing against that. But there does come a point. It's like, do you really need a multi-million-dollar house? No.
Yeah.
Like, can you get like $500,000 house and be pretty happy and have pretty sizable land and area and whatnot? Yeah.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson does the same thing. I don't know if you saw Receiver on Netflix. He lives in a small little home. It's not anything crazy, but I liked what you said a couple minutes ago when you talk about the replacement. And that's exactly kind of where I go. Do you want Eddie Martell as your starting quarterback, who, he's down to play for you, but if he's not making the money, his heart's not in it? Or do you want Shane Falco, brother? You know what I mean? Like, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. When we talk about guys like Nico leaving Tennessee for UCLA, I think of the movie Replacements, and I think of the respect that it commands in a locker room when a quarterback is willing to go to war for his guys. And not to say Nico isn't deserving of that money. Sure he is. But at the end of the day, if you're not winning a national championship, is he really? You know what I mean? And I think for me, that's really what it's going to come down to for these guys is, you're already making millions of dollars in NIL money. Why did you need more? So I'm completely with it. What if the replacement maybe isn't going to be a Shane Falco level player, but it'll definitely be somebody out of this portal who has a lot of success. I'm not saying he's going to be a scrub. I'm not saying it's going to be a down year for Tennessee, but you have to make that stand. Urban Meyer opening his mouth in any way, shape, or form baffles me because of his decisions that he's made. I myself have not made the greatest decisions in my life 100% all the way through. You haven't. Nobody has. So I just think Urban's kind of weird, especially when he's not even employed currently. So that's kind of, unless he is. I'm sorry, Tony. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
He's employed, just he's not in a coaching capacity.
Okay, so then shut the fuck up. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like what are we talking about? Like, so I don't know. It's like if I don't know. I'm not even gonna go there. We don't have enough time. Yeah. But I'm with it, Tone. I think it's sad, but if that's what it is at the end of the day, is that the guy you want to be the leader of your locker room? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the next one that we'll move on to real quick is, and I found this out because I watched a little bit of an interview that Joel Klatt did, a former University of Colorado quarterback. The athletic director of the University of Colorado is actually the one making the decision. He said that they are going to retire Travis Hunter and Shadeur Sanders numbers both for the University of Colorado. Everything that I have seen and heard, everybody is pretty much in unanimous agreement. Travis deserves to get the number retired. They have absolutely no problem with them retiring his number. Shadeur, they have a little bit more of an issue with.
Yeah.
And according to the athletic director, he said that they have made such a impact on the Colorado program and they have transcended the Colorado program so much that they can't help but retire the numbers, because you have to think originally before they got there, they went 1-11 and they lost most of those games by over 30 points in the games that they lost. So they brought them, I think, to 13-12, if I remember seeing correctly. So just above 500 in the 2 years that they were there. And I saw somebody bring up the good notion of, if they had done this and Colorado kind of stays about where they're at, maybe starts to get a little bit better over the next 5 to 10 years, then yes, they kind of re-jump started the program. They made it more of an impact of, hey, Colorado is actually a good school as far as, football playing, pathway to the NFL, et cetera, et cetera. They've only been there for 2 seasons. And, we talked about it on other shows. We kind of watched it throughout the last couple of college football seasons. There's a lot of overhype for Colorado and Deion Sanders and that Buffaloes team. They'd start out about 3-0, and then they'd have to face a buzzsaw like Oregon. Their first year there, Oregon blew them out 42-6. And then they, end up having to do the same thing again this year. They ended up playing better, but they still had a lot of drama. They still had a lot of issues. They were still there was still a lot of hype around the program that just ended up not coming to fruition. What's your thoughts on them retiring 2-12 for Travis and Shadeur? And I know we made the joke about it. Shiloh over here is just
man,
screwed, man. Just, hey, I know Travis isn't actually Deion's son, but hey, Shiloh, yeah, number 21 ain't getting retired, brother.
I'm sick. I'm sick if I'm Shiloh, brother.
More.
I got Travis Hunter over here doing wheelies on his ATV in my backyard with his Heisman Trophy with the jersey retired, and Shiloh, man, we talk about not even getting drafted, brother. Like that's sick. That's sick. But I don't know. Like originally when we talked about doing this show today, I was completely in the camp of Shadeur didn't deserve it. And then you kind of look at the numbers over 2 years, and I think if he would have played another season for the Buffaloes, I think there's a great case for it. He has 64 career touchdowns, passing, and 13 interceptions. This year, he was 8th in Heisman voting, 477 attempts in 2024 with 4,134 passing yards, 37 touchdowns with only 10 interceptions the year prior, 3,200 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So for me, and a great QBR, by the way, 168.2 QBR, 160 in total. I think for me, it's really just that simple of who else played quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what it is there's not a lot of competition. I was even looking at every Colorado Buffaloes jersey ever retired outside of Travis and Shadeur. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. So this is the 6th person ever retired. Like, how many jerseys has Ohio State ever retired, or Notre Dame? You know what I mean? And, I'm doing my research and seeing that every single Heisman winner that's won a Heisman for Colorado has gotten their jersey retired. So Travis definitely deserves it. From what I can tell, it's interesting though, for sure, man. I think, Tony, there's an argument that Travis doesn't win that Heisman without Shadeur. And if that's the conversation, if every single receiving yard Travis Hunter has had was thrown by Shadeur Sanders, I don't see how you have one without the other. Kind of like, not to say they're at that magnitude, but kind of like a Kobe Shaq thing. You know what I mean? Like one is not without the other to the magnitude of that. So I'm kind of leaning towards yes, but I agree with you that maybe 10 years from now, maybe not right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. But also we just saw Caitlin Clark get her jersey retired the second she left as well. So I think it's kind of a respect thing. I don't know.
It is. I would say for Caitlin, though, the biggest difference, she took Iowa to a natty, and albeit they never won a natty with her.
Twice.
They did. And you also have to think she became the NCAA's all-time scoring leader. So she was making massive impact. She was leading them into the playoffs. Like with Shadeur, that's the thing. Like the closest Colorado got was this past season where technically via like, I think it was like 5 or 6 tiebreakers. If everything would have fell through, Colorado would have been in the Big 12 championship. And I'm like, that's not exactly a great position to put yourself in to be like, oh, we got to hope that other people suck a little bit more or they mess up for us to be able to get in. So I do get it. You know, I do think it goes hand in hand. I think for, you know, kind of like I said, I think without Travis, Shadeur doesn't potentially look as good. However, without Shadeur, Travis doesn't look as good because we've seen what happens if you don't have a, you know, even above average quarterback throwing to you. It doesn't matter how good of a wide receiver you are. You're not going very far. You're not doing very much as a result of that.
So, I mean, it's hard. So what do you think?
Like I said, I think Travis deserves it just because of the impact that he made and the fact that, you know, he won a Heisman. And statistically, I mean, he did well on both sides of the ball. It's not like he had more production on the offense.
You telling me Shiloh didn't? You telling me Shiloh didn't? Shiloh was a dog, brother.
He was. So apparently, Hunter finished his Colorado career 153 receptions for just under 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown just on offense. And on defense, 67 tackles, 7 picks, 16 pass breakups, and a forced fumble on defense. Now, Sanders, much to his credit, threw for almost 7,400 yards, 64 touchdowns, 13 picks, and ran the ball for 8 yards and won the Johnny Unitas Award as top quarterback in college football for 2024, and apparently owns over 100 school records, including career passing touchdowns, despite only having played 2 seasons. So he did make an impact. Like he was prolific, and I'm not denying that. But is it enough to say, yeah, man, you kind of deserve to get your jersey retired? Not yet.
I think a 3rd season would have solidified that for sure. I really do. I think if they would have ran that back for a 3rd season and he got 100 passing touchdowns, I think you're looking at a jersey retirement there. 64, it just doesn't. I mean, I know we're running the show. We got to get out of here soon. I know that, but I'm trying to look at like Justin Fields. How many Justin Fields college stats? Because how many touchdowns did Justin Fields throw in 4 seasons? You know, or however many years he played. Let's see.
He started 2.
Okay, so Justin Fields in 3 seasons threw 67 touchdowns. Now he didn't start his full year, or his first year, but like, let's be honest, man. I mean, Shadeur's putting up great numbers. Yeah, Shadeur's putting up numbers though. Like, nonetheless, you know what I mean. So I don't know, Tone. Because it's Colorado, I'm like, why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just, hey, listen, Hunter's gone, Shadeur's gone. We got to get somebody in these seats next season. How are we gonna do it? Let's just have a jersey retirement night. You know what I mean? The White Sox in Chicago do it 24/7. They're like, no one's coming to these games. Fuck it. Retire somebody's jersey. Make a bobblehead.
Right. But nonetheless, buddy, appreciate you being on. And kind of hate that I have to cut it short a little bit though, but appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back next week. We'll do a little bit of the NFL draft, little draft coverage, predictions and whatnot. But appreciate all that. And if you like everything that happened on MBR Radio and MB Military Broadcast Radio, check them out on all the social media, MB Radio and mbradio.us. And we will see y'all later.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast